When I first started telling people I was separating or separated and divorced, people would always say like, "Oh, did he hit you? Did he abuse you?" Bitch, no. I didn't go through that. Now some people do. For me, it was a literal like marriage death by a thousand cuts. It was small things every single day over the course of years that led to separating and divorcing. So one of them was I would always ask my ex to like before we go to bed, like, hey, are their doors locked? He would get so fucking mad at me when I would ask that question because he didn't want to get up to go check the doors. Mind you, military man. I also stopped asking him to fix things or to put things together because when he would do that, he would have an attitude. So it would either break or it wouldn't be put together correctly and break later on. So once again, I stopped asking.
Is that my ex-husband would walk ahead of me all the fucking time. He would leave me in the dust. There's no reason why I'm looking at the back of your fucking head when we're walking anywhere.
There is nothing worse than being in a marriage but yet feeling alone. What's the point? Love is not heavy, it's not a yoke. It relieves you of burden. You complement your spouse. Hey loves, how are you? I hope you are well. What if I told you that it's not always infidelity or explosive arguments that sometimes ends a marriage, but the dirty dishes in the sink, the repeated requests that are ignored, the little things brushed aside again and again. And the scary part is that most couples do not even realize that they are bleeding out from 1,000 tiny cuts. In this video, we'll be uncovering how ignoring small needs creates a silent, deadly rot. Death by 1,000 cuts in marriage refers to small things every single day over the course of years that led to separating and divorce. In this video, we'll be looking at two examples from women whose marriage experienced death by 1,000 cuts. I'll also be sharing steps to take if your marriage is already experiencing death by 1,000 cuts. And finally, I will be discussing how to avoid it in the first place. So the first video you're about to see is by a lady called Manda. In this video, Manda narrates to us the 1,000 cuts her marriage experienced before it finally led to divorce. Take a look.
When I first started telling people I was separating or separated and divorced, people would always say like, "Oh, did he hit you? Did he abuse you?" Bitch, no. I didn't go through that. Now some people do. For me, it was a literal like marriage death by a thousand cuts. It was small things every single day over the course of years that led to separating and divorcing. Now there were a couple of big things, but those small things over the years, oh my gosh. And a lot of us have like a mix of all these things. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I experienced that people may not even really think are a big deal, but they definitely added up. So one of them was I would always ask my ex to like, before we go to bed, like, hey, are their doors locked? He would get so fucking mad at me when I would ask that question because he didn't want to get up to go check the doors. Mind you, military man. So he was deployed a lot. So I always had to be hyper vigilant for months on end, for years, at the most 8 months, doing things on my own. So having that relief of like, oh, he's home, he can make sure we're safe, but then not having that, fucking insane for years. Um, then I just eventually stopped asking, right? I also stopped asking him to fix things or to put things together because when he would do that, he would have an attitude. So it would either break or it wouldn't be put together correctly and break later on. So once again, I stopped asking, made me stronger, whatever, made me figure it out. But once again, I shouldn't have had to be strong in that way. I should have been able to trust. I planned all of our family trips, all of our dates, probably 98 to 99% of our dates I planned. He would fly across the country. He would drive wherever he needed to drive for someone's retirement, for someone's event. But to take me down the road on a date, couldn't do that shit. Um, and, all the household management, all the household finances, I did all those things. There's so many things, so many small cuts, so many injuries. Oh my gosh, the horrible dates. Like I remember I couldn't figure out why when he planned a date, why it just always wasn't like something would happen all the time, random shit. And I realized because he didn't have intention in planning anything for me. Everything was like last minute. Everything was like a check in the box. And I always left our dates just feeling so unfulfilled, feeling so unloved. It was ridiculous. I remember we were watching a movie, I think The Best Man Holiday, and they were like, in a beautiful island, and I forget it's Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan's character, and she was like about to do something really sexy for him because they were relaxed, right? They were on vacation. And I remember saying to him, "Oh, I wonder what I would do if we were, together on the island." Because mind you, we never, ever went on a vacation together by ourselves, ever. I would have had to plan it, and I didn't want to do that. And I remember he got so angry with me. And he was like, "Oh my God, like we don't have the money, we don't have this and that, bitch." We had three incomes, and I had two of them incomes as a therapist and working full time, and I'm also a professor. So technically four incomes, including his own. But I remember going like, damn, like I can't even ask for anything. You know what I'm saying? So it was 1,000 cuts. 1,000 cuts, as so many of us women have went through. And I want all of us to share our stories because there are women who are sitting in marriages dying 100 times a day because of these small cuts every single day. May not be big things to some people, but that shit adds up. And I'm saying that for any woman who is navigating this space, who are sitting in a marriage or difficult relationship, and they're just like, I feel off. Something doesn't feel right. Like, what is going on, bitch? It's 1,000 cuts that you are receiving day in and day out. And that is hard to deal with.
Okay, guys, let's go through some of those small cuts that she mentioned in that video. The first one that she said was that when they were in bed and she would ask him to go and have a look if all the doors were locked, and he just couldn't be bothered to do that. And she said that she would have to go and do it. She mentioned that it was something that she would always do whilst he was off on military assignment. So for 8 months, it was something that she would do whilst he wasn't around. And now that he's here, she's like, okay, can you go and do it? To be honest with you, that's not something she should have to ask. It's something that, as a man, and like she said, a military man, it's a responsibility he should take up when he's around in the home. But he doesn't do it. And there's nothing worse in a marriage than you having to fill in for your spouse to do a task that they should be doing. After you've done all your tasks, you've now got to add another person's load on it. After a full day, it's draining. And after a while, these things takes a toll on you. She mentioned that when she needed him to fix things in the home, he wouldn't do it. And if he did do it, he didn't do it properly, and she will have to take on that role. So she's having to do things that he should naturally be doing, but when he's at home, he just can't be bothered. And that's the moment when she's meant to relax and say, yeah, my husband is at home. She should feel your impact positively, and you shouldn't be draining her. She mentioned that she planned 99% of their family holidays. And to be honest with you, I thought to myself, planning holidays, it's something that we women tend to do well, planning ahead. We're really good at that. But then I thought to myself, when the mental load is a lot, when you're having to think for this person, think for that person, do the task that a grown-up adult is meant to do, even planning a holiday that maybe, we might say women might be good at, that can even be too much when you're doing everything. It's a lot of mental load. So even the easiest job can seem tasking and difficult. And at the end of it, you're like, do you know what? I can't be bothered. She says he had no intentions when he planned anything for her. So he wasn't making an effort. So this is someone that's barely around because he's often on military duty. And when he's around, she doesn't even feel his presence. It's like he's not there. And when he's meant to plan something for her, there's no intention there. You would expect someone that's been away months on end when he's around to really put the thought in because he's even missed his wife. But no, she doesn't get any of that. She said he was ready to fly across the country for other people's events, but he couldn't take her down the road for a simple date. And this is where he's gotten it all wrong. Because your family should be your first ministry. They should be your first priority. Because when they are good, when they are happy, you're good. And then you will get their support in return. It's not you being a people pleaser out there. It's important that you put your marriage, your spouse first. And there's nothing more frustrating than seeing your spouse doing the most out there. And you're like, you don't even do half of that for me. There is nothing more frustrating and disrespectful. She proceeds to say that all the household management and the household finances, she took care of it all. And I mean, that is just too much task on one person. There is only so much any human being can take. And the purpose of marriage is that it's a partnership. It's a union. You're meant to work together. You're meant to take off the load, the burden of the other person. It's not meant to feel like a huge task or burden on the other party that's weighing them down. No, you're meant to support and ease the burden. Those were the many cuts that happened in her marriage that led to their divorce. And it was because she felt unloved. And it's these small things over the years. We later learned that they've been married for 20 years. Small things over the years that leads to resentment. And it just depletes you. It chips away at you emotionally every single time. And ultimately leads to divorce. Let's take some comments. Miss Kim says, I finally did a 30-day plan. I asked myself each evening, do you want to divorce him? And I knew I said yes for 30 days straight. No wavering. I knew it was time to end the marriage. Try it. And the creator says, that's a great plan. I'm divorced already. Sherry says, I remember our last Christmas. We were struggling financially and I turned to my ex-husband and said, I don't know how we're going to make this happen for the kids this year. The man patted me on the back and said, I know you can do this. He put it all on me as usual. I felt so defeated and alone. Yes, I found a way to make it happen, but right then and there, I knew I was in that marriage alone. I left the next month with my kids and never looked back. I said it earlier, marriage is a union. It's two people coming together as one. You're not going in as individuals. No, you become one and you work together as a team. And she says she felt alone. There is nothing worse than being in a marriage, but yet feeling alone. What's the point? Carrying all the burdens as if you're a single parent. Another person says, my final straw, my daughter was 7 at the time. I was in the kitchen cooking. My 2 sons, 9 and 11, were talking to their dad about Mother's Day in the living room. My daughter was at the table. My ex-husband made a comment about including a lot of pink because it was Mom's favorite color. My 7-year-old got up and said, Dad, Mom's favorite color is yellow. So he clearly hasn't been paying attention to his wife. Basic information he should know. And both my sons loudly agreed. We had been married 14 years, together 17. And my favorite color is very much yellow. Small but loud. I mean, if your spouse doesn't know your favorite color after 17 years being together, then... Kumo K says, one thing I appreciate about the internet is how it makes you realize you're not alone and that you're not overreacting or asking for too much. I relate deeply. Empress J says, I got married, my husband did not. Yeah. Some people just think it's all about themselves. They forget that two become one. Partnership. Freya's mum says, we had a miscarriage the day after Christmas. Really sorry about that. He went to the hospital with me and I was there all day with them treating me. We got home and I asked him to cuddle with me in bed. I just wanted him to hold me. Rightly so, she's just had a miscarriage. He said, I have a lot of work to do because I was at the hospital with you all day, and grabbed his laptop. I can't describe how lonely that felt. Grabbing his laptop instead of grabbing his wife, moving her closer to him and just encouraging her. Honestly, really sad. In the next video, you'll get to meet Sheree, another woman who explains the different 1,000 cuts she experienced in a marriage that also led to divorce. Take a look. Wait, did you know that over 95% of you watching this right now are not subscribed? And only a small percentage are actually supporting this channel. And I'm not going to lie to you, as a small creator, that matters a lot. Because behind every video is several hours of research, editing, and breaking things down so that you don't have to. And sometimes the algorithm decides, yeah, we're not pushing that one. For example, take this video right here. Barely any views. Not because the content isn't valuable, but because it just didn't get pushed. So, if you're watching this and you're enjoying it, this is me genuinely asking you to please subscribe. Don't just subscribe. Please turn on the notification bell. Because by doing that and by watching it, it sends a strong signal to the algorithm to push the video out so that other people can see it. And when you hit the notification bell, it also notifies you every single time we drop a video. Because even when you subscribe, there is no guarantee that YouTube will show you the content. I really appreciate every single one of you. All right, let's get back into this.
One of my mutuals made a really good video. I'm going to tag her right here. She also makes content about dating after divorce, life after divorce, what led to her divorce. And I really love her videos. And so she made a video that I wanted to hop on, which was why her marriage dissolved by the death of 1,000 cuts. So if you don't know what that is tiny things that fracture your relationship and the foundation of your relationship or marriage over time that seem small, but they fester. And so for me, the very first thing that comes to mind is that my ex-husband would walk ahead of me all the fucking time. He would leave me in the dust. And I would ask him, hey, can you please not walk in front of me? First of all, I think it's rude. And first of all, I think it's unsafe. And second of all, I think it's fucking rude. When any woman that you're walking with, it could be your sister, your best friend, anyone. And so he would always just walk ahead of me to just not care about my safety. He wouldn't hold my hand. There's no reason why I'm looking at the back of your fucking head when we're walking anywhere. And so second thing, which kind of leads me back to the first thing, but if I had an issue about something or something hurt my feelings and I would come to him to talk to him about it, it always turned into an argument. It always turned into an argument because it wasn't that serious to him. And he would always be so dismissive of my emotions because it was seen as something that wasn't that serious to him. And I'll use the walking ahead of me thing as an example. You know, I would list off to him the reasons why I didn't like it, because it was rude, it's unsafe. Or maybe you need to walk faster. And that would be it. Or he would, oh my God, you know what? I'm just really stressed out. And you're bringing this little shit to me. And it would result in an argument, which would make me feel so very unsafe and unheard. And then I would have to I'd have to bottle that emotion up because now I have to get ahead of whatever it is that we're fucking arguing about. When I'm the one that came to you that wanted to talk. Do you know what I mean? And that was something that was also continuous. And he would say things like, I don't want to talk to you. Or he would just hang up on me. Or just completely stonewall me in the same fucking house. And that would just, it really chips away at you emotionally over time. And then I think the third thing would be So actually, the third and the fourth. The third thing was that no matter what, if I brought something up, well, I'm just so stressed out. I'm so stressed out. This is bothering me. This is this. Just because you're stressed out does not absolve you of having to show up for your partner emotionally, mentally, and everything else, right? Because that's a part of partnership. No matter what I'm going through, I still have to show up as your partner. And he was never good at that. And the last thing I think that chipped away at me over time was his extreme lustfulness. Who he followed on social media, wandering eye in public, corn addiction. You know, I leave the house and as soon as I leave, got his wanker in his hand. It's funny now that I'm out of it, but like, it's actually not fucking funny. Do you know what I mean? But there were major things in our marriage. I mean, heavy, hard hitter shit that is the that was truly the catalyst for why I had to leave him. But I left him while I was still in the marriage, and I left him while I was still in the marriage because of those things, those small little things. And I have more of those, but those are the ones that really come to mind. And so, I don't know, I guess I just wonder, what were your paper cuts? All right, so my first Death by 1,000 paper cuts video, now that we think about it, because you guys commented and you were right, those were not minor things. Those were not minor cuts. Those were disrespectful and they were rude, which made me want to sit down and actually make a minor cuts video, because there were smaller things in the grand scheme of things that were truly just the tiny little cracks in the foundation of my relationship with him. So first thing, I am someone who loves a very simple iced latte, okay? An iced vanilla latte with oat milk, almond milk. He never knew my coffee order. He never got up to get me coffee in the morning. My current partner, every single morning, either he goes out to get it and I'm still sleeping, or we go together. I'm having a bad day, he has it for me. I love him, and I don't want to make the video about him, but let me get back on track. I get distracted when I get thinking about that man. I love compliments. I never got them. And if I did, they were always tied to some sort of sexual activity. For example, damn, you looking good. I'm a crack that. I'm a smack. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I would be like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm kind of scared. Like, that you're scaring me. You get me? All right. The next thing, I love taking pictures. He never took photos of me, you know, like candids. My boyfriend now, I look up, camera in my face. I look back, camera. You know, he makes Pinterest boards of photos that he wants to recreate for me. So when I say night and day, and that is why you need to fucking leave. Anyway, going back to the photos, I would ask him to take pictures with me, and he looked absolutely miserable. I would ask him to smile, and instead of smiling, he would swear to God. I swear to God. Very just, you're doing it to piss me off. You're doing it to hurt my feelings, and it's just very cringy and childish. Right now, I feel like that's all I can think about. But minor cuts. And I'd have to reflect on those moments and be like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? No.
Okay, let's unpack all that. The first cut that she mentioned was that when they were out walking, he would be well ahead of her and he would leave her in the dust. And when she would confront him about it, his response would be, you need to walk faster. And she's right. Because if you're out with someone, your spouse, where there's love, you should be walking side by side. If you want, holding hands, but you should be close to each other. Why are you several steps ahead of me? If an outsider was to observe you, they wouldn't even think that you're together. They'll think you're two separate individuals. So it sends a message to your spouse that I'm not interested in being seen with you. I can't be bothered to be with you. I want my space. I want my peace. and you're miles ahead. That's the time where you should bond. You can catch up. Even if you're not even speaking, even if you're not conversing with each other, but just knowing that your spouse is beside you, it's a nice feeling. It sends a signal that I want to be around you. And then to respond that you should walk faster, like, come on. If you truly love your spouse, that wouldn't be the response. In fact, that wouldn't even be happening in the first place. She mentions that he will sometimes hang up on her. I didn't even know that couples could do this to each other, like hang up the phone. Like, what? It's so disrespectful. For what reason? It's so childish. It's immature. It's rude. This isn't a random person calling your line to sell something to you. This is your spouse. And you hang up the phone? She said everything turned into an argument and she felt unsafe and unheard. When your spouse comes to you with an issue, a mature person will listen and will think of ways in which they can improve and will think of ways in which they can avoid that situation from happening again. But to turn it into an argument just shows that you're an immature person, and it shows that you do not want your marriage to progress in the right direction. Using stress as an excuse to lash out at your spouse, using stress as an excuse for your behavior is just not going to work in marriage. If you're stressed, you need to talk about it with your spouse. You need to be open with your spouse and work through the situation together. Being stressed is not a reason to be acting up in marriage. It's not good enough. It's not nice for you to take out your stress, your anger on your spouse. They're meant to be your spouse. She said he didn't know her coffee order, a drink she has often, and you can't be bothered to know her order. Something that's important to her. I mean, it's like the comment that I read earlier when the woman said her husband didn't even know her favorite color. Just simple things like that, the little things like that. It costs you nothing to remember your spouse's coffee order, favorite coffee, and then not giving her compliments, but only giving it to her when he wants something. The truth is, women respond when you're genuinely kind to them and not seeking anything in return. Women are not that difficult. They respond. But you don't even give her a compliment, and when you do, it's because of your own selfish interest. She loves photos, and she said he never took photos of her. And the truth is, you've got to know what excites your spouse. You've got to know. On the days that I work from home with my husband, one of the things he would always do when he's coming up is make the both of us a cup of tea. And it's just so nice to start the day off with that cup of tea. Know what your spouse likes and do it, because that sends a message to them that, yes, I see you. I know what you like, and I'm taking steps to make sure you get that. Sowing seeds of kindness like that, it makes a woman reciprocate positively. And this message can go vice versa, because it could also be a woman doing the 1,000 cuts to the man as well. But these are just the examples that I have. So this message is for both men and women. These 1,000 cuts in marriage can cause toxic environments in the home. Manda, for example, the lady that we saw at the beginning, she had been with this man for 20 years. And oftentimes a lot of women or a lot of men stay in these marriages because of their children. And to be honest with you, I really feel sorry for the children who have to witness these toxic environments. Because the truth is, toxic atmosphere in the home is picked up by children. No matter how much you try to hide it, they will sense it in the atmosphere. They will sense the tension, the mood between mum and dad. These can cause even the children to walk on eggshells around you both. And the worst part of it, it can have an impact on the children, the way they view marriage, the way they view relationships, boundaries, what's allowed and what's not allowed within a marriage. It can actually scar the children. Take a look.
So a lot of women stay in the marriage because of the kids, which is valid. Let me give my positionality. I have 3 kids, divorced, of course. 2 are in college, and we have a 12-year-old. So my positionality is different. We just divorced in the past year. So what I want to say to you is this. Your kids see what's going on. They sense it. My youngest one was really intuitive. Like, she would just ask me these interesting questions about her dad and I used to just be like, I feel like she knows something. Honestly, even my son. And even though we kept a lot of the challenges we had from verbally, tangibly, like being witnessed by them, it actually came a time when they actually did. My oldest saw an argument that we had, and it left me crying and devastated. All she heard was her dad angry and yelling at me, and him leaving and slamming the door. And she was just caught off guard. And I remember sitting down telling her, said to my daughter, I want you to view me as a woman, not your mother right now. And I gave her advice and told her no man should ever treat anyone like that her dad shouldn't have treated me like that. I never bad talked him, but I also did not want my daughter to think that was normal. And I wasn't going to sit there and lie to my child. And I had to do that with my other two children because another incident happened where my other two children saw, and they saw me devastated on the floor crying, him angry, walking out, leaving, not a care for me. So I had to, both of them, once again, he left, and I had to be the one to not only deal with my own emotional challenges that he left me with because I was crying and devastated, but had to deal with my children and their emotions and them trying to understand what was going on. Anyway, I say that to say that your children sense things. And something that I'm getting now in my messages and in my comments are women messaging me saying, my daughter sent me your TikTok about 1,000 cuts. I get women in my comments, young girls, young ladies, like, young adults in my comments saying, how can I talk to my mom about what she's navigating? Because I think she's navigating the same things that you're talking about. So your children see what's happening. If they don't see it, they sense it, they know something. It's hard to choose yourself. It is so hard. But at the end of the day, what I decided was that I wanted my children to see me happy. And as much as I was expecting it to hurt, not only, of course, me to divorce, but also hurt them, they're navigating it now. The great thing is my ex and I have a really good co-parenting relationship. We are in full agreement on the care of our children and their well-being. So that's fantastic. So we're helping and supporting them, but I know they're going to be just fine. I know they're going to be fine, but I have to be happy first. You need to be happy first too. So I hope that helps someone who's stuck in that space. It's not going to be easy. As long as I think you have to understand that it's not going to be easy. So you got to choose your hard. You really got to choose your hard. And I hope at the end that you choose yourself. In choosing yourself, you're also choosing your children.
There's a comment she made that I just wanted to read out loud. She said, and even though we kept a lot of the challenges we had from verbally, tangibly being witnessed by them, it actually came a time when they actually did. Her oldest heard an argument which left her crying on the floor crying. And to be honest with you, that's not a scene children should be witnessing. I think she said her youngest was 12. They've been divorced for the past 1 year. So those children were very young experiencing that. And it's just not an environment that children should be. And it's not something they should witness. So sad. Let's take some comments from that video. Kimmy says, I knew it was time to leave when my daughter at the age of 11 asked me, why did you marry him? 11. No child should ever have to ask that question. It's just really sad what these kids have had to witness. Lakin Page says, I find myself apologizing for their dad's behavior all the time. My son has seen so much more than I've ever wanted him to see about his dad. And he's about to be 10. And our daughter is 2. And I'm terrified of her thinking that this is acceptable for her future. Pizza Bagel says, I'm staying for the kids because I can't afford to live without the second income. If it were just me, I would go. I would live with nothing, but I can't do that with them. It's just so heartbreaking. And that's the thing for a lot of women. They need that second income. Ivy Nicole says, I told my kids first when I filed. My daughter said, Mummy, congratulations, with the biggest smile on her face. Your kids definitely know. Can you imagine that from a kid? They just want their mum out of that environment. Tosha says, I had been contemplating divorce, but the moment my daughter came home from college and told me she didn't like coming home because she didn't like the way my ex-husband was talking to me, that was the nail in the coffin. I have daughters, and I also didn't want them thinking that behavior was okay. And that's what I was saying about the environment. It creates such a toxic environment that your kids, they just don't want to be present. Their first opportunity to be out of that door, maybe to go to uni, to go to college, they take it and they're out and they don't want to come back. Honestly, guys, these experiences, they scar children and they take it into adulthood. While scrolling through TikTok, I came across this video and it goes to highlight the impact the environment that we grow up in can have on us in adulthood. Take a look. The caption says, "You're so disciplined when it comes to men." Her response to that is, "Thanks, my dad used to take me with him to cheat on my mom." What we do as parents has an impact on our children in adulthood. What they witness as children, it stays with them. It embeds in their memory and it goes into their adulthood, and it can manifest in different ways. Some in a positive way and others in a negative way. I remember I covered this in one of my videos where I talked on the manosphere. So children sense these things. Whilst going through the comment section of the first video, I realized that there are so many women, so many, that are in marriages that are experiencing death by 1,000 cuts. Here's one of the comments that stood out to me. She says, "After 11 months being married, I no longer want to be married now." Going through the comments, "I'm leaving my marriage." What I have to say to this lady and to anyone, male or female, who's currently going through death by 1,000 cuts in their marriage is to, one, please don't give up on your marriage. Please do not give up on your marriage. Your marriage is worth fighting for. There must have been something that you saw in your spouse that made you want to commit to them. And here's what I would like you to do. First, please communicate. Communicate the issues with your spouse. Highlight all these small cuts to them. Let them know the impact of these small cuts on you. And inform them that if they don't change, this can potentially lead to divorce. Maybe show them examples. Show them examples of the impact that 1,000 cuts can have on a marriage. Let them know that your marriage is bleeding out slowly because of their actions. Do not run to divorce so quickly. Please don't. Try as much as possible to work it out. Remind yourself of what made you fall in love with that individual and try as much as possible to restore it back. What's my take on these two videos from these lovely ladies? I think it's a real shame that these marriages have ended in divorce. I think these small cuts could have been addressed, mainly if the individual who was causing the small cuts was willing to listen and change and take steps to make changes. Because I've learned from listening to a few divorce stories here and there tends to be one individual that's really the main cause. And I really wish that the individuals who were causing the 1,000 cuts could have made the effort to change in order for the marriage to survive. I mean, think about it. We're not talking about big things here. We're not talking about cheating. We're not talking about infidelity. We're not talking about your spouse having another child outside of the home. We're not talking about the big things that we know can cause divorce. These are small, tiny things that really and truly shouldn't even be a big deal. They shouldn't be happening in the first place. And these are leading to broken homes. I shared in my last video that I attended a bridal shower. I had made the cake for the shower. And they had informed me prior to the event that I would be given a word being someone who had been married for 8 years. I'll be sharing my experiences with the couple to be. And just a week before the event, myself and my husband had just learned that a couple that we know were going through divorce. And we were shocked. We could not believe it. And I said to my husband that something I've always heard people say, and I see it on social media, is that they say love is not enough. And I said to him, if love is not enough, then what is? What can sustain a marriage? I told him that the Bible says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So it was love that drove God to the point that he sacrificed his only son. So surely love has to be enough. And then we went into the Bible and we looked at 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4 to see what the Bible says about love, the definition of love. And it says, love is patient, love is kind. As I'm reading this, guys, I'm going to try to see how it fits in to the two scenarios we've just seen. It says love is patient and love is kind. Kindness, love is kind. When we look at that first situation with Manda, when her husband was back from military work and he was around, and she'll say to him, can you check the doors? And he just couldn't be bothered. That's not kindness. Or when she'll ask him to fix things around the home or plan dates, but he just wouldn't. That's not kindness. It says it does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. So when the other lady, Sheree, said that her spouse will hang up on the phone, he will hang up on her. But it clearly stays here that love does not dishonor. It's not self-seeking and it's not easily angered. She says when she would bring up issues with him, he would just turn it into an argument. And she says she felt unheard and unseen. And it says it here that it is not easily angered. It says it keeps no record of wrongs. It says love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. And that's what she was asking for. Why are you walking miles ahead of me? I want you by my side. Love protects. It doesn't hurt. Love doesn't scream or argue at your spouse until they're on the floor crying and the kids have to witness that. It protects. It says it always trusts, it always hopes, and it perseveres. Even when you're stressed out, you persevere through it because you love your spouse. And it says love never fails. You don't give up on love. Love is patient, it's kind. Kindness is you knowing your wife's coffee order, is you taking load off her plate, giving her the compliment she needs so that she feels relief and she doesn't feel burdened. That is love. Love is not heavy, it's not a yoke. It relieves you of burden. You compliment your spouse, that's kindness. It's patient. You're patient with one another. After reading this verse, we came to the realization, we had a revelation that when the world says that love is not enough, it's because they're not looking at it from the Bible's perspective. To them, love is just kissing, hugging, romance. No, love goes beyond that. There are deeper layers to love. It's not enough to just say, I love you. But there are layers. But are you patient? Are you kind? Will you protect me? Can I trust you? Will you persevere? That is love. And oftentimes I feel like people don't even understand the true meaning of love. For some, it's even lust, which is even worse. They do not understand the true definition. And so I shared this with them at the bridal shower for them to remember 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4, the definition of love. Because at different points in your marriage, you will need to show different sides of love. There will be seasons where it's kindness and patience that you need to show. There'll be another season where it's perseverance and trust and determination that this love is not going to fail us. You're having to show different sides of love. Love has different faces, different layers to it. And some people just refuse to, number one, embody love. And number two, they just refuse to adapt to the different layers that they need in different seasons. And that's exactly what's happened in these marriages. Because these situations, as you've seen, they could have been avoided if love, the way the Bible defines it, was exercised, was displayed. Guys, I came across this clip the day after recording this video, and it perfectly captures the point I was making about the true meaning of love. Take a look.
Long-haul truck driver drove over 3,000 miles with his paralyzed wife in the cab because he refused to leave her behind. In 2020, Qiao Yingying collapsed on the street, a brain hemorrhage. After surgery, she was completely paralyzed. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move. Doctors said, "There's nothing more we can do." It would be better to place her in a nursing home or hospice. Even his wife tried to let him go. She made it clear she didn't want to be a burden. But her husband said, "No, I will not abandon you." He rebuilt the truck cabin into a mobile home and spent the next 4 years driving across China with his wife by his side. Every single day he fed her with a spoon, bathed her, did rehabilitation exercises at every stop, and patiently taught her how to walk again. When people asked why he didn't walk away, he answered, "She was my first love from school. For 10 years, she carried our family alone while I was on the road. How could I leave her now?" After 2 years, she began to speak. She began to walk. She fully recovered. Doctors couldn't believe it. Her first words after years of silence were, "My husband is a great man who never gives up." Sometimes love isn't just words. It's staying when the whole world tells you to let go.
This video shows exactly what love should be. It shows that his love helped heal her. Because true love does not fail, it perseveres. What this man went through was not a small cut. It was major. It was a deep wound. Yet he stayed, he endured, and his love became part of her healing. If love can carry a couple through deep wounds like this, then surely it can carry couples through the small cuts too. So if you're going through the situation, I want you to take it to God in prayer, pray and pray that God gives you the strength. Because I know how difficult it is to hang in there with someone that's just not even bothered. And for you to share this passage with that spouse. And I pray that they have an understanding and a revelation of this passage and they take it on board. At this point, I would like to speak to ladies who are not yet married and who would like to avoid situations like this. Because believe you me, you can have a marriage that's without these 1,000 cuts. When I shared these videos with my husband and we were discussing it, he said these 1,000 cuts, they're like smoke. It's just the smoke that was seen. There's a lot more behind the scenes. Something is wrong with the foundation. And I agree with him. He said there's a fire burning behind the scenes and all you can just see is just the smokes. Two things could have happened. The first one being that something could have happened that could have triggered this behavior from these men. Or two, these men have always been like this even before these ladies got married to them. And the truth is that if you don't iron out the bigger issues, you will see all these small cuts if you do not deal with the bigger issue. There's a particular comment in the first video that buttresses my point, so I'm going to start off with that before making my next point. In the Rain says, "Y'all, when I was married, my ex-husband bought the daycare provider flowers on Mother's Day to thank her for all she does. I didn't get anything while carrying our newborn and his ailing mother that lived with us. I didn't get anything but the receipt from the flowers he bought for another woman. The peace I experienced after my divorce, priceless." The creator, Just Manda, says, wow. In the Rain responds back and says, "I got more stories. I've been reflecting more and more on how torturous and depressing that marriage actually was. It was like living in a cycle humiliation in that season. God rescued me from the poor choice that I made to marry him. And there's my next point. The choice you make matters. I mentioned earlier that maybe, these men change along the line. Something happened that triggered this behavior. But then another possibility, a huge possibility and a more likely possibility, is that these men were like that from the start. In one of her videos, Manda mentioned that she met her husband whilst doing her undergrad and that she got pregnant during her undergrad and she married at the age of 20. So she got pregnant really early on. She got pregnant at the age of 20 years and that's just so young, and she married young as well. And it's highly likely that she didn't know him enough when she got pregnant for him and married him. I mean, the moment she's pregnant, at that point, she's just thinking survival and decided to settle with him. I've said this before on this channel and I'll say it again. Dating is not for mating, it's for vetting. If you fail to do the due diligence of studying your potential spouse, be it male or female, whichever way around, if you fail to do that due diligence of studying them, getting to know them, their likes, their dislikes, whether their values aligns with yours, studying their character, if you fail to do that and you marry them, my goodness, you will pay the price for it in marriage. And that's where this 1,000 cuts comes from. Some of these issues is due to compatibility. Some of these men would have been showing the traits. For example, she mentioned that he doesn't like taking her pictures. He might have shown you that during courtship or during dating. Like, he's not into pictures. He has no interest in taking your pictures. Manda's husband as well, in the first video, he might have been nonchalant when it came to household chores and fixing things. A lot of these behaviors do not just manifest themselves overnight. A lot of them have been there even before marriage. And a lot of people often choose to ignore red flags, or they think these men will get better or these women will get better in marriage. You can't change a grown-up adult. You see, when you see something, just know that that is what you're going to get in marriage. If that doesn't work with you, don't go into it. If you're okay with it, fine. Then live with it. They're not going to change. Marriage is not going to change them. In actual fact, it's only going to make the matters worse if you ignore it. Take your time when choosing a spouse. Marriage should be for a lifetime if you get your spouse right. It should be. Marriage requires wisdom, not just intelligence. Manda is a professor. She's clearly an intelligent woman, but still got her spouse wrong. Wisdom and intelligence, they're two different things. Make sure you're mature. Make sure you're wise. Speak to mature couples so that they can give you wisdom. And dating someone at the age of 20 or settling down at a young age, 2021, it's just so young. Your values, your views, they change at that age from between 20 to 25. You change a lot. I mean, I was a different person from the age of 20 to 25. You become wiser, you become more experienced, you go out into the working world, you meet people, you see the way things are done. You have different experiences. You have a greater level of exposure. The person I would have been okay to marry at the age of 20 is different to the person I would have been okay to marry at the age of 25 or 27. Totally different. I'm not saying all people that marry young get it wrong. But what I'm saying is that make sure that you're wise. Even if you're 27, 28, 32, apply wisdom. And also don't think, oh, if it doesn't work, we'll just co-parent. I feel like co-parenting is like a new buzzword I've just been seeing everywhere in like the past 2 years or so. Don't use or think that co-parenting is a backup plan. There's nothing glamorous about it. I know we might see it online like, oh yeah, we're co-parenting. We co-parent in peace. But co-parenting is not easy. I've never actually thought deeply about co-parenting until I saw this video. Take a look.
I'd rather get married 10 times than have a baby with the wrong man. Let me give you some context. Yes, I am divorced and I have a child. Because y'all treat marriage like it's the ultimate trap. The real lifetime commitment is really a child. Marriage, you can sign papers, you can separate, you can block that man. You can heal in peace. But a baby? There's absolutely no blocking. Depending the type of person you are, you can. But I digress. There is no disappearing. Just don't talk no more does not exist in your vocabulary. You're tied to that person through birthdays, school events, doctor's appointments, graduations, for the rest of your life. Nobody talks about how hard it is to fully heal from a relationship. And you still have to coordinate with your ex every single week. You don't just move on. You co-parent. That requires a lot of emotional maturity, communication, and self-control. Even if the relationship ended really bad. Marriage can be undone, but a child cannot. There's a reason why we have 10 fingers, but only one uterus. So no, I'm not scared of a wedding ring. I do think it's important to be more strategic about who is the father of your child.
Did you hear that? She said you will need emotional maturity and self-control to co-parent. I've never actually thought about that. So if you need emotional maturity and self-control to co-parent, I ask you, I beg of you to exercise that same emotional maturity in your marriage before it escalates to divorce. Co-parenting is probably a topic that I will treat in the near future. I've got a folder just focusing on co-parenting, and it's a topic I'll probably speak on in the future. But please, guys, exercise that emotional maturity and self-control in your marriage and try as much as possible so that it doesn't end in divorce. I mentioned it earlier. I don't want young girls to look at this video and be scared of marriage, because on social media there's just so much noise about bad marriages and divorce. I'm glad that we get to see that side and people are honest and open here. But sometimes I just feel like there's just a lot of narrative about marriage being bad, men being bad, women being bad, and it can send the wrong message to the younger women and the younger men. I saw someone put a comment that says, why do we just keep hearing about the divorce? And why do we keep hearing bad things about marriage? And someone responded and said, when a plane lands safely, how often do we hear that? But God forbid, if there's a plane crash, it makes the news. The whole world hears about it. And so just know and believe that there are good marriages out there. People will not noise it out about their good marriages. They will keep it to themselves and enjoy it. Marriage is sacred. They will keep it between the two of them. But just a few days ago, I came across this video and it really put a smile on my face. And this is a testament that good marriages exist. Take a look.
My biggest flex will always be my husband. And I don't mean that in a shallow way, because I can sit and stare at my husband and just be like, you are that guy. You're that guy at work. You are that guy at home. You are that guy everywhere you go. You make shit happen. You fix things. That is my husband. He will give me the world. He will do whatever it takes to give me the moon and the stars. Anything I ask for, he got it. He may not have it right then and there, but he will get it. He will find a way in every situation. He will get us out of every and any situation that's ever presented. And I just have to say, he will forever be my biggest flex, but more than anything, my biggest blessing.
And yes, girl, that is the flex you think it is. That video made me so emotional, such a sweet video. And it was so nice to go through the comment section and see so many women talk positively about their husbands. And I'm sure we have so many men who can speak positively about their wives. That's just to show you that there are amazing marriages out there. Let's take a few comments from this video. We might as well. Imelda says, I love how healthy the comment section is. We are healthy in our marriages. Okay. The creator says, me too. And I get so scared to post stuff like this because people think I'm bragging. So that's the reason why you wouldn't see much of these posts around. But if they only knew men like this still exist, they truly do. I just pray that the women who are looking for this read the comments and it gives them hope. Nalu says, how I feel about my husband. Angie says, my husband is everything to me. Cherub says, he is my heart. Mel says, heavy on the he may not have it right then and there, but he will find a way. King says, my man, my man, my man. Iris says, my husband gave me my feminine energy back. Yeah, her husband, the creator's husband, responds, that's my job. So sweet. And finally, James says, I became such a softer woman after meeting my husband. So blessed. I feel safe, taken care of, that I can just turn my brain off. And that's such a luxury I didn't know I needed. Yeah, having that mental load being shared or taken off you, it's just priceless. It's truly a luxury. And the final one, Anne says, same, I never worry a day when I'm with him. Exactly the way it's supposed to be. And guys, before I show you this week's must see content, I'm introducing a new segment on this channel going forward called STA, Simply Taiwo Advises. And the tagline is very simple. It's your dilemma, my take. This segment will focus on real conversations and real questions from my community, whether it's something connected to a topic I've covered in the past or currently, or it could just be your personal dilemmas that you'd like my perspective on. So if you have a dilemma, a question, or something you'd like my take on, feel free to drop it in the comments. And if you'd rather remain anonymous, that's totally okay. You can send an email to simplytaiwo.official@outlook.com. And don't worry, your identity will be kept private. I'll read through your messages, review them, and I'll be happy to address them during my STA segment. And for our very first STA, I want to address a comment that was left by a young lady on one of my previous videos. It was a video where I spoke on the manosphere. And I wanted to address this particular comment because I felt like it would not only help this young lady, but it could help someone else out there who may be going through something similar. And the comment says, I'm 21, my little brother is 15 and has been coming up with very conservative worldviews towards marginalized groups and topics, including gender roles, racism, homophobia. I'm concerned about the content he is viewing and the changes in his attitude and lack of empathy he's demonstrating, which didn't exist before his teenage years. I'm not sure what to do other than express my concerns with my mum, who isn't overly media literate, as I'm a big sister and not a parent figure who has control over what content he's consuming. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for sharing this, and I would also like to commend you for noticing the change in your brother. Because to be honest with you, this is how it starts. The good thing is that your brother is still at a young age, he's 15. And to be honest with you, at this age, there's still room to reshape his thinking. So what I would advise is for you to have conversations with him, to have discussions with him. Don't attack him. Let him express himself. Let him share his views and give him different perspectives and get him to share his thoughts on those perspectives. Another thing I'd encourage is to get your brother to watch Inside the Manosphere, because one thing I found interesting was the fact that on multiple occasions these influencers said that they didn't even believe in some of the messages and ideologies that they were pushing out, and that they were only doing it for fame. I remember one of them said that if he did good things, if he did good stuff, that no one would take notice of him. So a lot of the things they do was to grab attention. They say these things in order to go viral, but they don't even believe in the message that they're pushing out. So maybe get your brother to watch these videos and see that the people he's idolizing, they don't even truly believe in the message they're pushing. So if they don't believe it, then what's the point? What's the essence in following them? And if they don't believe it, that should signal to him that the message is wrong. Regarding your mom, I totally get where you're coming from. Like I mentioned in that video, I've only just recently learned about the manosphere. I didn't even know if this was a thing. So I can only imagine for much older parents, this space, manosphere space, would even be more unfamiliar. So what I would encourage with your mom is to sit her down. Maybe show her clips of these influencers, show her their TikToks and the messages that they are pushing out to young boys. Get her to watch Inside the Manosphere. Let her see how drastic, how dangerous these ideologies are. Because when she watches this, she will understand the need for her to act urgently on working and talking to your brother. Because the truth is, parents in this generation can't afford to be passive. If she remains passive, there are people online who are ready to step in and shape the minds of our children or our siblings. I'll also say, if there's a male role model in your life that could step in to speak to your brother, to tell him that no, this is not the way, this way leads to destruction, but follow this way. That would also be great, because sometimes hearing it from another man might be even more impactful. And finally, I'm a Christian, so I would always say a simple prayer every night. God, please touch the heart of my brother, renew his mind, put him on the right track. That can also go a long way. But honestly, sister, you are doing a good job by noticing these changes in your brother. And I know that if you take active steps to help reshape his mind, I know he will get to that positive place. And so guys, if you have any dilemma that you would like my take on, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, or don't forget to send it to simplytaiwo.official@outlook.com. Anyways, guys, it's now time for my must-see content of the week. And to be honest with you, when I saw this content, I said, do you know what? Truly, wonders shall never end in this life. I was shocked. Take a look.
6 dogs totaling 500 pounds sleep in the bed with my husband and I every single night. So I want to show you how we comfortably do it, because it is possible. We love our dogs and we want them near us. Plain and simple. And you can do it too if you want. Our dogs are trained to know where to go every single night, so it's easy now. Our little one goes in a bed between our heads. Our black lab always sleeps on the outside of my husband's legs. He can still stretch his legs out, don't worry. My biggest 120-pound Pyrenees always likes to sleep at my feet, so I can also still stretch out. Mahi is where it gets difficult though. She has to be in the middle, but she really doesn't like other dogs around her, especially Penny, but Penny has to sleep on my pillows. That's just her rule. And so I allow it. And yes, the 6th dog actually sleeps in a crate because he's our foster puppy, but it's still in our room because he likes to be with us. Now, where do I sleep? I sleep right here. It's comfortable. I have plenty of space. I love sharing the pillows with Penny. I don't know, it's so cute and fun. They have short lives, and so I want them to sleep where they want. And no, my husband's not going to divorce me. We're all happy. We're all good. So here it is.
I mean, her butt is still sticking off the bed, and how on earth are you how on earth are you sleeping comfortably on that bed? I mean, the comment section was just hilarious, with most people saying that room must stink, people saying how on earth could her husband be happy with this. Oh my goodness, crazy. Anyways, guys, that is all I have for you today. If you've enjoyed this content, please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss my content. Till next time, guys, stay blessed. God bless. Bye.